Well, greetings, Little Rock Church. We're excited to get this new series started on Nehemiah. Nehemiah is a fascinating read, and many times when we study Nehemiah, we want to study principles in leadership and this idea of rebuilding. But to start off, I want to talk to you about the second law of thermodynamics. I'm pretty sure you're pretty excited about right now about Nehemiah, right? No, so this idea of entropy, everything is in a state of going from order to disorder. There's always this decay, and we see that happen all around us. We see it happen in the world. Anytime you start with something new, you buy a brand new car. It doesn't stay that way, does it? It continually starting to get older, and before you know it, it's breaking down, and maybe it's time for a new car. But we see that in everything, and unfortunately, sometimes we even see that in the church. We have fond memories, maybe of the good old days of what church used to be, and as we see things go on, we might say, "Hey, the church isn't where it should be today." And so we're going to look at the book of Nehemiah and really prayerfully consider, how do we pursue renewal? How do we rebuild, revive, restore all that God has for us to be as the church? Now, Nehemiah, as you know, the Israelites had been 70 years in captivity. And in the book of Ezra, Zerubbabel rebuilds the temple. I mean, this is the center of the kingdom of God on earth for the Jews, and they needed the temple to fulfill the religious duties of what God had called them to, and fulfilling the law, obeying the law. But they had abandoned that. And so a lot of times we tend to focus on physical rebuilding, but really the heart of it was spiritual rebuilding. And if we are spiritual healthy, the physical things around us will also become healthy. And so as a church, we need to focus on that spiritual renewal in order to get back to a place where the things around us, the physical things, one, they're not as important. When Zerubbabel rebuilds the second temple, they were pretty disappointed in what they had seen. Like, this isn't like the good old days, the good old temple. And so we've got to move beyond that to spiritual renewal, to where the physical things ultimately don't matter. And for us, we recognize that all the physical things of this world, one day, they're all decaying. They're all falling apart. They're growing from order to disorder, to this process of decay. We can't stop it. But spiritual renewal is something very different. And when we get to this place of spiritual health, then again, the physical things don't matter as much. And so we're going to look at the book of Nehemiah, and we're going to study through the principles that God used Nehemiah to rebuild this wall, to restore and revive the people of God to this place of health. But it's still not quite enough, because they didn't have the solid foundation to build upon, which we have, the foundation of Jesus Christ. And so they were longing and trying to rebuild the kingdom on earth, but ultimately it's unfulfilled because they didn't have the foundation that we have. But we're going to take the book of Nehemiah again and extract some of these principles, and we're gonna attempt to build on the foundation of Jesus Christ, a foundation that will withstand every storm, that we may see the church rebuilt, revived, restored, all of these things that God would have for us in our day. Because Jesus says that the kingdom has come, and we are to build and establish and seek that kingdom above all things. And so I'm excited to study through this book with you. I'd encourage our house churches to jump in and study through this. We'll be sending an outline out that you may already have. And if you're not part of a home group, a home church, we encourage you to maybe this is the time to jump in and be a part of a house church. And so excited for this. Be praying as we start this series this week, and we'll be studying through it over the next few weeks, and excited about what God's going to do. May God bless.